My name is Isabella. I'm 36 and live in a quiet town outside Denver, Colorado. I work as an accounting assistant while managing our small home. No children, just me and my husband Tyler, who is also 36. He works as a sales team leader at a large real estate firm, always polished, always persuasive. To others, I seem lucky. They don't feel the cold inside this house. Today was special. June 12th, our 8th wedding anniversary, and Tyler's birthday. I took a half day, drove over 30 minutes for his favorite red wine, and picked up Wagyu short ribs. I'm not a great cook, but I tried. I strung lights, laid out an ivory tablecloth, set the silverware perfectly. The custom cake waited in the fridge, frosted in vanilla with a small message. To Tyler, happy birthday and anniversary. By 7 p.m., I was ready and waiting. 8 p.m., I lit the candles. 9 p.m., I texted. No reply. 9:30, I called. 5 rings, then voicemail. At 10:35 p.m., a short email arrived from Tyler. Sorry, big client emergency. I have to stay at the office. We'll make it up later. No thank you. No happy anniversary. I set the phone down. The candles had long burned out. The cake remained untouched. I stood frozen in the dining room light, still holding the folded napkin I'd set for him. I didn't cry, but something inside me shifted. I cleaned everything away, boxed the meat, took down the lights. No one enjoyed the dinner. There was no one to celebrate with. I lay down around midnight, still in my wrinkled dress, unable to sleep as that cold email replayed in my mind. It wasn't the first time Tyler was late, nor the first time I waited until I ached. But this time felt different, a quiet, creeping instinct. The next morning, I went to work as usual. No messages from Tyler. Calls rang unanswered. At noon, uneasy, I called his office. The receptionist hesitated, then said, "He resigned 3 days ago. He didn't leave forwarding information." I stood frozen. The air thickened. Memories rushed back, and suddenly I understood. He had chosen to vanish. I, his wife of 8 years, was the last to know. After work, I rushed home. I unlocked the door to our 3rd-floor apartment, once a haven, now thick with silence. The shoe rack had a glaring empty space. His favorite brown leather shoes were gone. Tyler. No answer. In the bedroom, he stood beside an open suitcase, hastily packing a duffel with a navy suit, a tie, and brand new dress shoes, items he never wore to regular meetings. "What are you doing?" My voice was thin. He looked up as if I were a stranger. "You're back," he said flatly. "Where are you going?" "New start. I've accepted a job in Albuquerque." I froze. "You quit and didn't tell me?" He pulled a slim folder from his bag and placed it on the table. Divorce papers. "Tyler, what is this?" His eyes were like steel. "You're no longer the wife I need." "What are you talking about?" "You always put work first. The house is dusty. You only cook on weekends." I gripped the papers. "I tried. You come home late saying you've eaten. I cook. You ignore it. I clean. You tell me not to touch your desk. Don't bring up petty things," he snapped. "A real wife doesn't need reminders." I laughed bitterly. "I work. I pay half the rent. No one cooks for me. No one asks if I'm okay." "That's your choice. I've made mine." He zipped the suitcase. "I rented an apartment near the new job. Don't get in my way." I blocked the door. "That's it? No apology? After 8 years?" "I don't owe you anything." He brushed past me without looking back. The door clicked shut, final as a courtroom gavel. I sank to the floor, clutching the divorce papers, hands trembling. 2 days later, a call came from building management. "We received a request to transfer the lease. The current holder has requested termination." "What did he say?" "Just left a note. I no longer live there. The person staying will clear out by month's end." No discussion. No message. That night I checked old receipts. Almost everything, from the sofa to the fridge, was in my name. He took only clothes and a few tech items. His coldness finally woke me up. Everything was still there, except the marriage. I didn't sign the papers right away. They sat for 3 days. Each time I passed, I stared, hoping for a reason in the cold typed lines. But the only explanation was his brutal silence. That Saturday, I got a notification for my 18-year high school reunion at a Denver brewery. I'd once looked forward to it, imagined arriving with Tyler, a stable couple among the struggling. Now, it was just me and a hollow ache. I almost didn't go. But after seeing my tired yet dignified face in the mirror, I dressed. A simple black dress, wine-colored lipstick, hair pulled back. Not to impress, but to remind myself I still existed. The brewery was loud and lively. I felt out of place until a familiar voice stopped me. "Isabella?" I turned. It was Nathan, who used to play bass in the school band. He had a bit of stubble now, a warm, settled look. "I almost didn't recognize you." He smiled, handing me a beer. We sat at a small back table. He shared that he'd been divorced for 3 years, raising his 6-year-old daughter alone. No bitterness, just quiet truths. When he asked about Tyler, I said simply, "We're getting divorced." He nodded and changed the subject. I was grateful. Driving home through the Colorado chill, an old song played. It's not right, but it's okay. The lyrics hit hard, pulling up memories, cold dinners, unread messages, faded hugs. All those years I told myself, Tyler's busy. Be more understanding. Try harder. But facing the truth, I realized I'd lived like a shadow, excusing someone else's neglect. Sunday morning, as I made coffee, my phone rang. "Tyler, I've informed the leasing office we're terminating the contract. You should start packing," he said flatly. I stayed calm. "You didn't think to ask if I had somewhere to go?" "You're an adult. Figure it out." I set my mug down. "Good. I'll sign." Silence. "And don't call again," I said firmly. "Don't talk to me like I'm still keeping your house in order." No response. I hung up. I sat at the table, eyes drifting over the divorce papers. Then, as if closing a rotted chapter, I picked up a pen and signed my name. No tremor, no tears, just clarity after years of hollow promises. A week after submitting the divorce through my attorney, Tyler emailed near 10 p.m. The subject line? Proof. I opened it. Before reading, a photo jumped out. A marriage certificate. Groom, Tyler Robert James. Bride, Marissa Ellis Whitmore. Stamped, Bernalillo County, New Mexico. Date, 1 day after our divorce was finalized. My phone rang immediately. Tyler's voice was disturbingly triumphant. "You saw it, right? I got remarried. Life's never been better." I stayed silent. "Her name's Marissa, 36, like you, but mature, gentle, and—" He paused. "So beautiful you'd be jealous. She's the only daughter of the Whitmore real estate family in Santa Fe. Her parents built us a house. The job? They made me executive vice president." "So that's why you needed the divorce so quickly," I said, voice steady. "Not entirely. I couldn't keep living with a woman who put work first and neglected her role as a wife." I laughed quietly. "And your new wife? She doesn't work. She chooses to care for the home." He sounded smug. "And we're expecting a baby girl. She's 3 months pregnant." Each sentence felt like a dull blade severing the last thread of our marriage, but instead of pain, I felt hollow stillness. Marissa Whitmore. The name wasn't unfamiliar. I opened Facebook and typed it in. Her profile appeared instantly, a stunning woman with soft blonde waves, sharp blue eyes, a radiant smile. I scrolled. On the 10th photo, I froze. Marissa was the girl who went to high school with me for 3 years. Back then, she was Marissa Ellis, scrawny, squinty-eyed, with a flat nose and blotchy skin. She sat in the back, barely spoke, and was often teased. No trace of that girl remained in the wedding photo, but I remembered those eyes, that slightly crooked tooth, bunny teeth, the way she looked down in hallways. I called Lana, my high school best friend. "Do you remember Marissa Ellis?" Lana paused, then laughed. Not only do I remember, I have a senior year picture. Why? I told her everything. She changed completely after moving to New York for art school, Lana said. Multiple plastic surgeries, chin, nose, eyes, jawline. But her personality's the same, quiet, calculating, strategic about who she latches onto. There was a rumor she was involved with a much older married architect in Brooklyn. Then she moved back and opened a gallery. Guess she's leveled up now. That night, I stared at the wedding photo. Everything sparkled. Flowers, white dress, perfect smile. But beneath it lay layers of makeup, crafted image, and disguised motive. And he chose that. A week after Tyler's call, an unknown number texted, Isabella, are you free? I need to talk. It's serious. I knew who it was. I didn't respond. 15 minutes later, he called. I answered, sensing it would be worth hearing. Marissa gave birth, a baby girl. He swallowed hard. She doesn't look like me, or Marissa. Actually, she doesn't look like either of us. I tightened my grip, lips pressed to keep from laughing. Maybe she takes after your side. No, Isabella, when you laughed after I told you about Marissa, you knew something, didn't you? His voice rose, nervous and panicked. I leaned back, a slight smirk on my lips. I just found it interesting. Stop joking, I did a DNA test. The baby is mine, but I don't get it. Why doesn't she look like us? I haven't told anyone but you. Please. I chuckled quietly. Do you remember your high school graduation album? Silence. I found it while packing. It was buried in your desk, covered in dust. There was a curly-haired boy with squinty eyes, crooked teeth, and acne. It took me minutes to realize it was you. I paused. I always wondered why, in 8 years, you never introduced me to college friends, insisted on a small wedding, kept no teenage photos in our home. Now I understand. I changed out of insecurity, he said quietly. No, you changed to live a new life, but forgot one truth. Genetics can't be altered. Silence stretched between us. You think I'm ashamed of who I was? I feel sorry for an innocent child who'll grow up with 2 parents who couldn't be honest. You hid your past. So did Marissa. Now you're surprised your daughter doesn't resemble the edited versions you constructed. You think she'll look like that old version of me? His voice wavered. She'll carry what's real in you. Your blood, your DNA, everything you tried to erase. He inhaled deeply. What about Marissa? She won't hold the baby. Every time she looks at her face, she turns away. Yesterday, her mother had to step in. I don't know what to do. A bitter heaviness rose. Not for Tyler, but for a child already rejected. I lowered my voice. You once said I failed as a wife because I wasn't willing to sacrifice, but the one rejecting his role as a father is you. I sighed. You don't need my advice. Just don't project your shame onto that baby. She did nothing wrong. I ended the call and blocked his number. There was nothing more to hear. Nearly a year later, Tyler's presence barely lingered, not because I tried to forget, but because the life I built filled every empty space he left. I moved to a small Boulder apartment, a 10-minute walk from work. The balcony overlooks green hills with enough sun for potted herbs. Mornings no longer feel dreadful. I wake early, make coffee, and breathe. I kept my job but reduced my hours, choosing balance over burnout. I enrolled in weekend art classes and reconnected with old friends, including Nathan. We don't tie each other down, just quiet afternoons and simple companionship between 2 people who value peace. I no longer check on Tyler, but life has a way of updating you about those who stepped out of it. One early autumn afternoon, I ran into Lana at a used bookstore. You haven't heard about Tyler, have you? She whispered. I shook my head. Marissa is looking for a divorce attorney. Word is Tyler cheated again, with a new hire at her company. She found out 3 months ago, but stayed quiet for the child. Their daughter? She's almost 3, but it gets worse. Lana showed me a screenshot from a preschool parent group. A new girl in class. Her mom had full plastic surgery. The kids found out and teased her. "Your mom used to be ugly." The poor thing cried all week. My heart sank. Even though I no longer cared about Tyler or Marissa, a child bullied for choices not her own broke something in me. "Marissa regrets having the baby," Lana added. She thought the child would inherit her post-surgery beauty, but the girl carries the original genes. I said nothing. There was nothing left to say. Tyler and Marissa chose a life wrapped in glitter, built on illusions of beauty, status, and control. But what couldn't be hidden, the past, the truth, how they treated others, showed up clearest when they had a child. I returned to my afternoon, picked up a croissant from the bakery, and strolled home through the park, golden light streaming through the grass. My life now has no drama, no major twists, but it has rhythm, autonomy, and a fullness I once thought I'd never touch. Sometimes I still reflect. 8 years of marriage, a sudden divorce, shameless betrayal, the unmasking behind flawless makeup. But I no longer feel bitterness. I feel gratitude. That collapse gave me a chance to be reborn, not into someone new, but into myself. No compromises, no avoidance, no pretending. If anyone asked whether I've forgiven Tyler, I'd smile and say, I don't need to forgive anyone. I just need to live true to myself. And for the first time in years, I can say that without hesitation. Isabella's story reminds us that appearances may fool the world, but time reveals the truth. When betrayed and discarded for not being perfect, she didn't seek revenge or beg for closure. She walked away quietly and rebuilt her life from the inside out. In the end, those who lived a lie faced the consequences they created, while Isabella found freedom, peace, and her true self, something no cosmetic surgery could ever buy.